Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by thelines.com, now also powered by lineups.com. Nate and Josh coming back to you guys again for this game one in the Eastern Conference on Wednesday night, looking at the Knicks at home versus the Pacers. We're going to be taking a look into the series as a whole and definitely giving you some of these looks that we've got for game one here on Wednesday night. So definitely make sure to subscribe to the channel. We're going to continue coming back for you guys all playoffs long here. Few breaks, just want to be totally upfront here and there, but for the most part, going to have all these games on in episodes for you guys. So continue to follow along. Make sure you do know that when you go to thelines.com right now, it is going to take you to lineups.com. Some changes taking place behind the scenes, but everything that you still need as we continue to bring you these looks and insights for all things NBA in the finals and conference finals right now. So Nate, let's go ahead and jump into your thoughts and looks here for game one for my Knicks.
Yeah, I mean, we like the Pacers a little bit, at least to start hot here. Over 53.5 points in the first half seems low. I mean, the Pacers averaged 64 in the first half against the Knicks last playoff series. They averaged 58.7 in the first half of these first two. This year, they have they are hot on the road, second best true shooting percentage, still play at that 100 pace on the road. And for the Knicks, like, might be a little bit of a shock value in terms of the pace in or the tempo in the half court. You know, like, we got different words for pace and tempo in terms of, like, you just played the Celtics, who were just absolutely stagnant, iso ball, just hoist threes, bailing you out defensively by, like, all right, it might go in, it might not. The Pacers don't bail anybody out, right? It is just a nonstop, frenetic 20 seconds or less to get them a good shot. And so I think the first half will be kind of tough for these Knicks, even though they had enough rest and they got the blowout. So I'm not saying like, oh, tired legs, they're banged up. There is more concern about that for them than a younger Pacers team, but it's just the difference in styles, right? And maybe they'll be able to adjust and start to lock it down in the second half. I like isolating the first half in these playoff games when we think about overs, because the pace and the tempo changes so much down the stretch. But the Knicks, they don't necessarily come out very well. They have 114 defensive rating at home in these playoffs. It was 121 defensive rating last playoffs. Who knows with your boy Cat if he's going to be able to handle the high pick and rolls that they're going to throw at him here. And I don't hate over 109 in general for the first half. I think the Knicks are capable of scoring on this team for what it's worth. All six went over in the 7-game series last year against the Pacers after game one did go under. Their last 8 regular season games against Indy are 6-1-1 to the over against this number. Like, these teams could score on each other. The Pacers defense, however, has gotten much better, especially in the half court. They've been excellent in these playoffs. So I'm just going to say they keep it going on offense, and it's more exploitable. It's 2 points lower than the Knicks total.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is it's so correlated with the pace feels correlated to the outcome in terms of the Knicks need this thing to be slower and the Pacers need it to be faster. And so I am going in that direction of, like, well, I am putting a lot of stock into the way that the Pacers play being the advantage being to their younger, fresher, most importantly, fresher legs. And that's going to be a big part of this series. So I'm with you. Like, if you think the Pacers are going to come out strong, then I think they're going to have a good shot at winning this game because of the way that we've seen them had to come back in that last series and still won both those games after being down by so many points in the 2 wins that they had on the road there. I'm going to go into my look here and just say I'm going to put a little parlay together. 2 picks, 4.5 for Indy to cover that, combined with the over 224, and that should get you close to 2.5. It's like 238 there on FD specifically. But, like, these things are so heavily correlated that I might as well put them together and throw like a half a unit on it and feel pretty good. Like I'm spending a little bit to make a lot more in a really good situation. Like, as a Knicks fan, I love that series versus Boston, but I also felt like we actually had a legit shot in that one. As I'm watching the Cavs and Pacers series, I'm going, this is what's waiting for us if we beat the defending champs, is this team that is just on a complete tear that worries me, because you've got a slow pace game in Boston. They're down. I mean, the average score of that series was 210 versus that Cavs and Pacers series was like 232 was the average score per game. And that was with massive blowouts, with one team barely scoring like 110 in a couple of different games. So that tells you the level of offense that these teams are, that those teams are capable of, and the pace that they're playing at. And New York definitely benefited from only playing 7 guys at the most, right? Campaign gets a few minutes here and there. Deuce, when he's making shots, stays out there for 15, and Mitchell Robinson, when he's like actually continuing to make a few free throws and not be a detriment on offense that much, like he's been out there for close to 20 or more as well in the playoffs. Other than that, it's everybody playing 40 plus, certain guys playing 44, McHale almost the whole game consistently. I don't love that in a situation where you wear down. And you mentioned the benefit of the way that the Knicks haven't even been that come out that strong. Well, like if you're trying to keep the pace of the game slow and the other team is trying to keep it fast and you're losing, then you are now in a situation that you have to try to catch up against a team that wants to play that way. You're feeding into everything that they want to do at that point. So they have to come out really hot, and then they're going to have to maintain that. And I don't trust them to do that consistently in terms of maintaining that down the stretch. When they're the ones chasing the Celtics down 20 and need to come back, that's much, much different than, chasing a Pacers team that is not slowing down, that is not just ripping threes over and over, that might be ill-advised like the Celtics were down the stretch. And so, the Celtics helped the Knicks win that series. And I'm not even talking about Jason Tatum. That's what I'm bringing into this one is like, if the Pacers can even defend the paint a little bit, just a little bit, then I think that they're going to be in perfect position to win this series. And that makes the margins a little bit smaller for the Knicks.
Yeah, I mean, the thing you mentioned is the Pacers are not going to just go into prevent offense like the Boston Celtics did. And that allowed the Knicks to crawl back and allows the game total to be closer to 200 than 224. The Pacers, they don't think that way. They're not wired that way, right? Halliburton would love to just dance on them all the way out of the arena. So I don't necessarily see a world where the Pacers win a lower scoring game. I do understand the correlation here. I think the Knicks could certainly win that lower scoring game. And I did still think about Pacers halftime, Knicks full time. It might not look the same as what they were able to do the Celtics, but I still do think the Knicks are more trustworthy in a fourth quarter situation like that than the Pacers, who mostly we've seen like excel in that situation against the shell of the Bucks. And then this Cavs team, which just imploded. So, I mean, we got Mr. Fourth Quarter here, Jalen Brunson, but I am actually going to take his first quarter under, because if you're not, if he's coming on strong late, then under 7.5 points in the first quarter is not a bridge too far, and it's plus 116. He tends to ease into these games and really ease into the series in general as somebody who is just trying to figure out how you're guarding him, not forcing early, saving his energy. And sometimes Tibbs even helps him save his energy. Sometimes he only plays 10 of the 12 minutes in the first quarter. Depends what Tibbs is feeling on that particular day. But he went under this in the first 5 against Detroit before the closeout game. He went way under in the first 2 against Boston, only had 2 points in each of those games before coming on late in the comebacks. And he's 10-2 to the under in this against this number of these playoffs. You look at some of the usage numbers, 24% usage in the first quarter, 48% assist rate, getting other guys involved. You flip to the fourth quarter, 42% usage, and still a pretty high assist rate. The ball is just in his hands constantly. And he gets a lot more points off free throws. And that's where Indy is exploitable, right? In the first quarter, we're only talking a 10.5% of his points are coming off free throws, 19% in the first half. You flip to the second half, it's up to 24%. He's creating, he's isolating. And this was true in the regular season against Indy as well. Only 9% of his points came off free throws in the first half, 30% in the second half. He averaged 4.7 points on 29% shooting in the first quarter against Indy in the regular season. So hoping, they feed somebody else early, the Knicks. They're trying to maybe build the confidence of these more erratic stars, such as Karl Anthony Towns, and Brunson will be biding his time, knowing that Mr. Clutch will come in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully that's the way it goes. I would tend to agree that like he has started relatively slow. We'll see what the defense looks like on him in general, but that first quarter is going to be pretty telling. And if you're getting plus money for that, then I think it does make a bit of sense. And maybe there is something to him conserving some of that energy, knowing that it's going to be equally, if not more important, that he's so clutch at the end of the game, because that is at the end of the day, like going to probably be their biggest, card up their sleeve for the whole amount of time that they're left in these this postseason is going to be that they have the clutch player of the year. And say what you want about it, in the playoffs, he's been historically good, better than anyone in terms of fourth quarter points and the way that he's carrying his team. So you mentioned Cat. I'm gonna just like close my eyes and hit the over because that's what the numbers are telling me to do. But it's not gonna taste good going down. But maybe by the end of the game, we'll be like, that was some good overs on Cat because he's at 22.5 points, and I'm gonna take that. It's just such a Cat series, man. If you can't do it here, Cat, I don't have confidence in you being consistent in the playoffs. But I also want to say, consistent in the playoffs so far has literally just meant don't foul out. Don't have 4 fouls in the first half because he has played fine. He's not scared of the moment. When he was actually getting threes up in the Pistons series, he was money. The Celtics were like, you ain't shooting a three. Like, it ain't happening, right? You're going to have to stand 35 feet away because we are going to have a big on you at or Drew Holiday is going to be draped all over you at the 3-point line. I don't know if that's going to be the case here. Like, they're going to have Miles on him, right? Maybe there's going to be some Siakam on him, but he's going to punish people. The Pacers down low on the season give up the 6th most points in the paint during the regular season there. They were 5th most. They were 26th in terms of limiting points in the paint. They've been a lot better in this series, or in these playoffs, I should say, but like still giving up about 45 in the paint there. They also don't score in the paint. They're down now to about 45 points per game in the paint. They've been in the bottom half of the league for the last part of the season anyway. Got a lot of threes up, as we saw in that Cavs series that really led them to things. Well, that should leave Cat a little bit less vulnerable to the foul. That's what I'm hoping. But if you look at the minutes for Cat, when he's able to stay on the floor for like 38 to 40 minutes in the playoffs, then he's good to go, right? In terms of the overs that he's hitting here, all of the games that he played over, that he went over his this points prop of 22.5, he played at least 36 in a bunch of the games that he did not go under here. We're looking at about 8 of them that he went under. He's averaging 32.5 minutes because he had a couple under 30 because he can't stay on the floor. So it's really just what it comes down to. He's not missing shots. His field goal percentage is still up at the season average that he had. His threes are actually a little bit better than his season average, thanks to shooting so well in that Detroit series. So that's it. That's just really it. Because if you're going to go down low for Cat, you're going to have a really good time. It's just, are you going to be on the floor for 38 minutes? Or are you going to be on the floor for 30 minutes? So
yeah, he's got big numbers against the Pacers, right? I mean, we're talking 32.8 points per game his last 4 in the regular season. I do think Miles Turner's playing better defense now, and that we might see wings on Cat a lot more, and Miles kind of patrolling the back line, trying to disrupt that. But yeah, I do think he has a better offensive series than the last 2 opponents, where they were able to throw those ultra big wings on him instead of Aaron Nesmith, who I think will spend some time out there. But he's not Tatum, Tobias Harris. He's not that tall, right? And
that's the thing, is that once Tatum left, Drew is as good as you're going to get for a guard wing to guard Cat. And he's too big, man. Like, Nesmith's going to do his damnedest, I'm sure, but this man is too big, is where I'm at with it.
Yeah. And we're only at 1.5 threes because he didn't get those threes off against the Celtics. So that could be an angle as well.
Agreed.
But yeah, I mean, if we like Cat, it's partially because the Knicks are going to need sources of offense, and because I don't think Mikal Bridges, is going to have a very good series. Under 19.5 points and assists is where I'll go here. I mean, first of all, his biggest task is guarding Halliburton and chasing him all over. So he's going to be conserving some energy on offense, and he hasn't been super involved consistently at all in these playoffs. And when they played Indy during the regular season, he had a 15% usage rate. He was 2-1 to the under against this number, averaged 11.7 and 4.7. So those dimes were nice. They might scare you, but it's the playoffs now. Indy's allowing just 22 assists per game total. And Mikal, who's like 5th on the team in assist to pass ratio, is not really getting the high priority playmaking opportunities. The one over he got against Indy back in October, he shot 8 for 12. So if you're worried about that kind of outlier, it could happen for sure. I mean, he's 4-2 to the under in each of the past 2 series in these playoffs. He had a couple of nice shooting games to get him over, but as far as the assists, I mean, there's room for regression here. 4.5 potentials in the Celtics series, and he got 3.8 assists per game off that. That is not reliable. And this Indy defense is really well positioned to limit what he does, which is, doesn't shoot the 3 ball well. We're at 1.5 threes for him as well. He still has kind of a broken hitch shot out there, but they limit corner threes where he can actually kind of get it there because it's a shorter shot. But they are second best mid-range defense in these playoffs, holding opponents to 29%. They are 5th best at the rim. And they do allow the most free throw attempts, which is part of why they have those few assists per game. But that again is a Cat Brunson thing. Like Mikal Bridges is not consistently getting to the free throw line. He's looking to get to that little pet shot, which started to work against the Celtics as they were breaking down, as he was able to get a tired Derek White on him pretty often. But I think that's on film now. And these Pacers, man, these wings are pretty big and physical, and underrated defensively. I think they'll be able to keep Mikal off his pet spots.
Yeah, that's what it's going to come down to. I guess he could start hitting threes. I'm not sure, but it's not this series not made for him either. It shouldn't really be made for OG either. So it does seem like it comes down to the stars a little bit, but we'll see that OG. We're not going to talk about them in this episode, but like that OG and Pascal matchup is going to be fun.
The old practice battles coming back.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, those guys beat the hell out of each other in practice when they could, and I'm sure that it's a friendly rivalry for sure. These guys are boys, but it's going to be really, really fun to watch for sure. So I'm going to go to the aforementioned Halliburton though, and close it out with a couple of things about him. I like both under on the dimes 9.5, and I like over on the boards 4.5. I don't look the boards to me, like the way I'm going to play this is I'm going to go under on the assist, but I'll probably just make a little parlay of over boards under assist to get the better juice, which will give me some negative correlated better odds, probably close to like 2-1, 3 to probably getting closer to 3-1 with that look there for most of the places you'll find this. But for starting with the rebounds, like the thing I keep liking about Halliburton is like he ain't guarding the best player on the other team, and they're going to do everything in their power to do that, to keep him out of those switches as much as possible. He'll be guarding Josh Hart, I'm sure. Hart might be setting a few screens for Brunson as well, and that'll put Halliburton in the action, I'm sure. At the same time, like I still think he's going to be doing his part to stay in the corner and guarding whoever happens to be down there. If Josh Hart gets too involved, I'm sure that they'll be okay. Also, just sort of moving him onto essentially at that point, it's really just OG or McHale. But I don't think they'll have a big problem with him guarding McHale. He did that in one of the games as well. The key for the boards is that he is going to be on Hart as much as possible, though, because in the game that they play without Hart, the game that they played without OG, and there was a couple other guys. There was a game that they played without Nembhard and Neesmith as well. In those games where the matchups got mixed up, he went under on the boards. The one game where it's like, I'm guarding Josh Hart for the whole time that I'm on the floor, he had like 11 rebound chances and 6 boards, right? And that's what I'm banking on, is at least 10, probably closer to 12 rebound chances like he's had in these playoffs. And that's what he's been doing in the 36 to 38 minutes that he's been on the floor since the Bucks series, is guarding not the best player or not the top 2 ball handlers on the team, always guarding the Max Struses of the world, right? And occasionally like guys like Kuzma because they were so unafraid of Kuzma. Shout out Kuz. But the assists here, this is a really good defense against assists, man. That's what the Knicks are doing. They're leaving their guys on islands consistently. They didn't double Jason Tatum. They ain't going to start doubling Tyrese Halliburton, right? And it's kind of the same for both guys. Like maybe Brunson requires a little bit more doubling and we see his assists capable of going up, but I don't think that's going to change it. There's no point in the series where they're going to go, let's get 2 guys on Halliburton. It's just going to be like, well, if he's hitting 35 footers and we got to guard him out there, then we're in trouble. But if we can keep that from going down, he's going to keep the ball in his hands to score a lot more. The Knicks are best in the playoffs, tied with the Celtics, basically limiting assists in these playoffs so far. And during the season, they were 6th best, limiting assists to their opponent as well. It's a big reason that Halliburton has only gone over 4 times since last season, including the playoffs, when these teams have now played 13 times since last season, right? So it's going to continue to be a trend that I buy into. If it's 13 games of him consistently going under against the same type of defensive pressure that I think he's going to see in this game, then I'm happy to take under 9.5. And this got bumped up from 8.5, which is wonderful. This is the playoffs. This ain't the regular season. You're not running around finding wide open guys like that. You're going to have to beat your man one-on-one and then hope that you can get an assist off of that. But I don't feel good about that for him in this one.
Yeah, I definitely like fading the assists. I'm with you there. And don't hate the rebounds. I thought about it, but I started to research Hallie, and he's only 2.5 threes. He's only at 17.5, 18.5 points, right? I mean, plus money for 20. And what we saw the trend last year, right, is that game 1 against the Knicks, the only one that went under in the first half, by the way, is he was super passive and everybody criticized him. He hasn't been passive since, basically, in these entire playoffs. But even the rest of that series, the next 6, he averaged 24 a game, only 6.8 dimes, to your point, and shot 55 and 44%, hit 4.5 of his 10 3-point attempts. So for this to open at 2.5, or you still get a pretty good parlay number at 2 threes. I think he's going to be looking to be a killer here, especially on the road at MSG. He's feeling very good after that Cavs series in terms of his offense. So I might do under assists over points as just a more direct correlation.
Yeah, either one. But like you said, I agree. The assists under are the better look here, and that's why if I am going to go with the Rebs, it's just one of those negative correlated parlays. You could just do like a 15 plus with under dimes, and you'll still get better than 2 to 1 on that, even though it's like an alt line under on his points. But like you said, these points ain't that high for Halliburton, and if he decides he's going to keep trying to take over, he's going to be in a good position to do that. Other guy we have to at least mention is Nembhard, but like he's at 12.5 points, he's at 5.5 dimes. He is going to be way more involved. He's going to be somewhat the equivalent of Drew in the last series. If he's guarding Brunson and Brunson's guarding him, you got to get Brunson into action on offense so you tire him out as much as possible, which would lead to a lot more touches, a lot more usage for Nembhard. I'll wait on that one. These are high for Nemby. I love taking him at 9.5, 10.5 points because everyone's asleep. They're not sleeping no more. Plus, the dimes have been super high for him against the Cavs. Don't know if that's going to be the case. 5.5 is still very high for him against the Knicks, but we'll be talking about him by episode 2. I'm sure whether we take him or not, you will get another honorable mention. So that's all the time we have for you guys in this one, though. Definitely make sure to subscribe to that channel. We're going to continue to bring you all the stuff you need here for these NBA playoff games. So until we see you next, happy betting.